I've taught over 30 classes on SkillShare, and I've had some success. Today, I want to tell you about some of the things I've learned being a SkillShare teacher. Some of the good, some of the bad. So while I do that, I'll be drawing and coloring in this drawing of the snow leopard SkillShare. I started on there in 2021. I had previously taken classes on there as a paid member, but around this time I decided I wanted to make a little bit more income. Around this time I had also started teaching privately over Zoom, so it seemed to fit in nicely with what I was doing. The first class I uploaded was in May of 2020. It did okay. It was specifically one of drawing, or I should say painting, with metallic watercolors. I never had done anything like that, so it was very new to me. And I really, I really was interested in seeing if I could make money, and that wasn't the only reason, but I I really wanted to give it a shot and see what would happen. So, but I'll be honest, I did want to make money, and that's how I started. So, the first class took a while to get going, but finally I got some students, and then I think the first month I didn't make any money, but then by the second or third month I made maybe $17 or so. And then later on that year I worked on adding some more classes. I remember I added one of a lilac breasted roller bird, and that one to date I believe is the best one, or the best class I've added or uploaded. So I did that, and then I kept on going. I found that one thing people really seemed to like of my classes were uh, drawings done with Posca markers. So I focused on that to a degree. I did some other ones. It was fun to see how people would do the classes because on Skillshare people can upload and share their drawings with everyone. Um, so that was always nice to see, and we would hear feedback from students. Uh, Snow leopards have these very round, beautiful ears. So yeah, that was, and then over the next years, I continued to post new classes, and sometimes I would do a lot, sometimes I would do none at all for months or even a year, but they were always in the background and receiving students growing a little bit at a time. On there, if you're a teacher, you can have students be followers. So none of my classes ever really took off. I was hoping one would maybe take off, but I understand that maybe my way of teaching wasn't what SkillShare saw as ideal for their platform. Mm, so yeah, that was that. And let me find another color here. More of a light blue for the eyes. So that was my journey on Skillshare. Now the last one I posted was about maybe back in the spring of this year, and uh, I've been focusing on the Posca marker classes, like I said a while ago, and those seem to do good, although I've seen a decline in views. So that's why I kind of put a pause on teaching on Skillshare. Overall, it's a great platform. They have expanded into other types of classes now. One is they have uh, live classes where you can sign up as a student. You can sign up and have a one-on-one class with a teacher. I did have one student sign up, and it was a lady I taught. We worked on her drawings, and I gave her some tidbits. And other than that, I haven't really focused on it or um, put any effort into promoting those classes. And right now, I don't really want to do that. That's not my main uh, desire for my current goals. Um, but it is good for people that want to take classes. They can be, at least in my opinion, a bit pricey. But that's for each one to decide. Alright, I'm going to add a little bit of pink in here for the nose. What is this, orange? One thing I don't like about these Faber-Castells is I have a hard time seeing the naming of them. I do have some Prismacolor here that I'll use because I don't have a very big set of Faber-Castell pencils. But it is what it is. So, nice pink nose. Maybe I'll add a little bit of blue in there for some of the shadowing. Alright, let me find a brown real quick. The brown, hold on. Alright, we're adding in some brown inside of the ears, not too much. Just a light shading in there. So if you want to try Skillshare, give it a shot, see what you can do. I would greatly encourage you to try. It's worth trying out for everyone. Let's see, we need a dark brown. So I really like these. I really like these Faber-Castell pencils. They're very buttery, very smooth, and overall, they're very good quality in my opinion. I love shading with them, and they roll out very smoothly. I'll just lay in a layer here, And this isn't meant to be anything fancy or spectacular, just a simple drawing of a little cute snow leopard. I'll probably color in these back paws. And then I'll leave the front paws white. And I'm doing this very lightly with my brown. Alright, let me find my black. Alright, I'm gonna color in the face, and the way I do it is I hold that pencil sideways, color this in. I'm just gonna lay it right there on here. Nothing real complicated for now. So yeah, what did you do today? I'll tell you what I did. I went in and I filmed a few videos for YouTube. I spent time with my cat. I worked on maybe adding some hairs right in here in the ears, some nice hairs at the opening of the ears. I love having these long hairs in the ears. I worked on updating my fish tank a little bit. I'm having some trouble with algae. Trying to get that resolved, although it is something that I always struggle with. Partly because I have a small tank, but one day I want to get a bigger tank. Alright, there we are with the ears. And then I'm thinking for the fur, I really want to, I'm not sure, I'm going to add in maybe some right around, spreading around the eyes. I don't really want to add in fur everywhere because that'll take a while, but I'll add in some here and there. Maybe some of the stripes on the head. So then I want to add in, I notice on these snow leopards, they have very wide faces down here near the bottom side, kind of a square jawline, although it's more of a, because of their fur, I believe. And I'll add in some spots of fur. And this is this is what I've done with a lot of my students, kids from 6, 7, 8 years, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've done classes with them on OutSchool, teaching drawing of animals like this. Simple drawings, nothing real complicated because they are young, and I want everyone to be able to do a good drawing, and I found this way of drawing that I like, and it seems to work with or for my students. And I've kind of built my little character. It's a little bit cartoony, I guess you could say, but it has a bit of realism in it. And like I said, I'm not adding in fur everywhere. Maybe in some key areas that I've done. I want to add a little bit more along the bottom of the eye. That's where on cats you see a really dark black area. Alright, looking good so far. And then I'll go in and I'll add in some fur on the body. Yeah. So, I really like cats. I have a cat, a Bengal cat, and she's a very beautiful cat. You've probably seen her in one of my other videos or somewhere online. And I got her this year, back in March of 2025. I found a breeder in my area and was able to get this kitty. She's very playful, very energetic, and not, I wouldn't recommend these types of cats for everyone. They're very, they need a lot of attention, a lot of dedication. She almost died on this at one point because she swallowed a piece of foam, and it was a bit of a disaster, but that was resolved with surgery, fortunately, and unfortunately. We didn't want her to go through that, but it was necessary. Alright, having pause, do a little outline along the bottom, some shading in maybe for the paws to give them some dimension. I don't want to add in too much fur to the hips or the back legs, so I'll leave it like that. Adding in some simple outlines. And the way I do fur is, at least in this case, is very scratchy, very free. It is flowing in one direction, going down. I'll color in the tail lightly with black, and then I'll go in with black and darken up some of the areas of the tail for the stripes. This may not be completely photo accurate because I'm not really looking at a picture. I'm just trying to do this off of my memory, so forgive me if there are some inaccuracies. So you may have noticed I've kind of gone off and rambled and gotten away a bit from what I was originally talking about. The SkillShare, and I'm really trying to find my path on here on YouTube, trying to figure out what I'm doing, and I want to be free. I don't want to be constrained. I want to be able to just have this be a self-expression, talking as I work, and yeah, not bad. Maybe add in some whiskers. Alright, we'll do the ground, the rocks, and the... I'll do this with black for now, and I'll do it with the side of my pencil to get a nice layer on here. So this is very relaxing to sit here and talk and kind of think about stuff I've done, my art, and just think about the drawing the leopard, how I've progressed with my art and with my teaching over the years. I never really thought I would teach, but I got to be a teacher. So, almost done. Right, and then what I would do is I'll go in, adding in some cracks in this rock. And then I'll color in down here a little bit of a shadow. Maybe I'll add some blue in here in a minute. Right now, let me add in this shadow. So I hope you are enjoying this class, or not this class, but I hope you're enjoying this little video. Sorry, I'm used to talking about classes, so forgive the miss from the incorrect word for this video. Using a little bit of this dark blue. For the shadow. Maybe I'll do some shading. I'm not really planning any of this out. Overall, the scene of the snow leopard I've done before with my students, but the colors I'm adding is kind of just going by what I think it needs. I like this blue, bit of blue, and then adding it or mixing it in with the gray. Not bad. Okay, there's that. And then we'll wrap this up by going in with our black. Let me find the black again. I'll add in some mountains. I don't want to make these mountains too dark in the background. Number one, because I don't want to distract from my snow leopard. And then number two, I want him to have some snow drifts. Drifts of snow. Alright, the last thing is I want a small sunset back here. I'll grab some orange. I'm gonna have some nice bright orange right down here by the head. Pretty vibrant and not dark, but pretty saturated. And then have a kind of fade out as we go outwards. And then to wrap this up, I will grab a purple. If I can find a violet or something, nobody know. I want something like a dark purple. Or I'll use a dark blue is fine. And just add in this dark halo, or not halo, but dark sky around the orange, going right up to the orange. I don't wanna mix these orange and blue. Like, and I want the blue really dark right out here. And there's the very top corners. You can see that. I'm ready to, yeah, you can see that. Alright, so hope you enjoyed the video. There's our drawing of the snow leopard, but hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye.